The fascinating history of the first personal computer, the Altair 8800. Hi, this is Marvelous Computer. Gather round, tech enthusiasts and history geeks, as we embark on the captivating journey through the history of computers to uncover the groundbreaking advancements and innovative pioneers that transform the realm of personal computing. Ever ponder about the origins of the Altair 8800? The world's first personal computer, or the masterminds behind its creation? This video delves into the fascinating history of personal computing and the revolutionary technology that made it all possible. From the inception of the Intel 8080, the first microprocessor, to the development of the Altair basic interpreter, we will unravel the intriguing story of the companies and individuals who disrupted the way we interact with information and transform the way we work and communicate. Buckle up for a thrilling ride filled with twists and turns as we uncover the hidden gems and untold stories of the personal computer revolution. The Altair 8800. Where do I start? This little computer has quite the story to tell. You see, it all began in the early 1970s, when two guys by the names of Ed Roberts and Bill Yates were trying to figure out what to do next. They had run a small electronics company, and they were looking for their next big thing. One day, they stumbled upon an article in Popular Electronics about a new type of computer called a microcomputer. It was love at first sight. They saw the potential in this new technology and decided that they wanted to get in on the ground floor. So, they set to work and designed the Altair 8800. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. They had to make all the parts themselves, and they had to figure out how to put it all together. But they were nothing if not determined, and they were relentless in their pursuit of the perfect microcomputer. Now, the Altair wasn't perfect, far from it, in fact, but it was affordable, and it was accessible. For the first time, people could buy a computer and build it themselves. This was a big deal. Suddenly, anyone could own a computer, regardless of whether or not they were a big corporation or a small business. In 1975 the Altair took off like a rocket, and Roberts and Yates were flooded with orders. They were working around the clock, trying to keep up with demand. It was a wild ride, but they loved every minute of it. And the rest, as they say, is history. The Altair 8800 paved the way for the personal computer revolution. And it was a machine that really kicked things off. It was the brainchild of two guys who saw the potential in a new technology and decided to go for it. The Altair will always have a special place in the history of computers, and it will always be remembered as the machine that started it all. The Altair 8800 computer was quite the game changer back in the day. This was a machine that really kickstarted the personal computing revolution. To put it in perspective, before the Altair, computers were these massive, clunky things that only the government and big corporations could afford. But then, along came the Altair, and all of a sudden, ordinary people could have a computer of their own. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The Altair wasn't exactly a powerhouse. It was basic, to say the least, with just 256 bytes of memory. But, you know what they say, big things come in small packages. This little machine was the spark that ignited the fire of the personal computing revolution. People were absolutely enthralled by the Altair. It was the first computer that you could actually build yourself. Of course, you had to be pretty handy with a soldering iron, but for the tech-savvy DIers of the time, it was like a dream come true. And, let me tell you, the community that grew up around the Altair was a tight-knit one. These were the pioneers of personal computing, and they were eager to share their knowledge and ideas with each other. They formed user groups, traded tips and tricks, and even wrote their own software. But, here's the thing, the Altair wasn't just a hobbyist toy. No, sir. This machine had serious business potential. Companies like Microsoft and MIT, the company that made the Altair, saw the potential in personal computing and jumped on board. They developed software and hardware that made the Altair even more powerful and versatile. And, in just a few years the personal computing revolution was in full swing. The Altair may have been a humble machine, but it was the start of something huge. It was the beginning of the modern computing era. The Altair 8800 computer was quite the piece of machinery. Now, don't get me wrong, compared to today's computers, the Altair was about as basic as it gets. But for its time, it was nothing short of a technological marvel. It was a technological innovation that reached the masses when it was featured on the cover of the January 1975 issue of Popular Electronics. So, what exactly did this little machine have under the hood, you might ask? Well, let's take a look. First up, we have the processor. The Altair was powered by the Intel 8080 chip, which was clocked at a speedy 2 MHz. That may not sound like much now, but back then, it was pretty impressive. So, back in the day, In the mid-1970s to be exact, Intel was working on their next big thing. They had just released the 8008 microprocessor, but they knew they could do better. And that's when the 8080 was born. Now, the 8080 was a massive leap forward compared to its predecessor. It was faster, more powerful, and it had a ton more capabilities. It was a game changer, and everyone knew it. The 8080 was a massive success, and it paved the way for the development of even more powerful microprocessors. It was the cornerstone of the personal computer revolution, and it was used in some of the first home computers, like the Altair 8800. Next, we've got memory. The Altair had a whopping 256 bytes of memory. Yes, you read that right, just 256 bytes. Nowadays, that would be enough to store just a couple of sentences, but in those days, it was more than enough for the basic tasks that the Altair was designed to handle. As far as storage goes, the Altair used cassette tapes to store and load programs. That's right, no hard drives, no flash drives, just good old magnetic tape. And, let me tell you, loading a program could take forever. When it came to input and output, the Altair was a little light on options. It had just a handful of toggle switches on the front panel for input, and a few red LEDs for output. No screen. Not exactly what you'd call user-friendly, but it got the job done. Now, let's talk about expansion. The Altair was designed to be modular, so you could add on extra features as you needed them. For example, you could add a card that gave you more memory, or another one that gave you a keyboard and a video display. All in all, the Altair 8800 was a pretty basic machine, but it was a start. It was the first computer that you could buy and build yourself, and it was the machine that really kicked off the personal computing revolution. It may not have had all the bells and whistles of today's computers, but it had heart, and that's what counts. In conclusion, the Altair 8800 computer was a true trailblazer. It may not have been the most advanced machine of its time, but it was the one that captured the imagination of the world and set the stage for the personal computing revolution. And for that, it will always have a special place in the hearts of tech enthusiasts everywhere. We hope you enjoy learning about the history of personal computers and the pioneering technology that made it all possible. From the first microprocessor, the Intel 8080, to the Altair 8800, the first personal computer, this has been a journey through the past and an exploration of the groundbreaking technology that changed the world forever. We would like to invite you to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this one. From the latest advancements to the history of computing, we've got it all covered. We would love to hear your feedback and thoughts on this video, so please leave a comment and let us know what you think. And don't forget to check back for more videos in the future. We promise to keep the content interesting and informative. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.